Coming up on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
We'll tell you about some upcoming educational events where you can get hands-on training to improve cattle care. Plus, we'll head to the kitchen and highlight a beef recipe that's perfect for your next family meal.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Ochsner. For years, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association has placed a strong emphasis on producer education, recognizing that well-informed cattle producers are essential to the success and the sustainability of the beef industry. Here's a look at some events that offer valuable lessons on cattle handling.
The demonstration arena at CattleCon is a dedicated space within the NCBA trade show that offers attendees a one-of-a-kind educational experience focused on cattle handling and best management practices. A group of industry experts lead this interactive event, offering valuable advice on the best ways to minimize stress while caring for cattle.
Every year we have people come by that have never really seen what we do, and it gives them a chance to kind of get a look at what we're talking about. It allows us to kind of introduce the concept, and they can either go home and learn on their own or come to some other events and get better. But hopefully we can spark a little bit of interest in changing what they do, and everybody can get a little better.
Beef quality assurance, or BQA principles, are central to the activities within the demonstration arena to ensure producers are learning about best management practices.
Cattle handling and stockmanship is a core component of beef quality assurance. To me, stockmanship is basically training your cattle to work for you. If we can keep the stress level down on our cattle, they respond to vaccines better, they do better on the nutritional plane, whatever we've got them on. So it kind of sets the foundation for everything else on the operation.
NCBA has also found a way to take the demonstration arena on the road by organizing regional stockmanship and stewardship events. The goal is to give cattle producers around the country access to these valuable educational resources.
The response to those events have been extremely good. In fact, I think this past year we probably had as much positive feedback as we've ever had on the events. People are actually talking about how they've gone home and changed things. I had breakfast with a gentleman this morning who'd gone home from the one we had in Elko. And he changing his corral systems, trying to make things work better and flow better. And so there's all sorts of little components of this that come into play, and partners with like NCBA and Neogen are really important.
Neogen sponsors both the demonstration arena and the stockmanship and stewardship educational events. These events align with Neogen's mission to provide innovative solutions to enhance animal care, performance, and productivity within the cattle industry.
So to us, it's a relationship that's always worth being a part of, and we're really happy that they've been willing to partner with us and provide that opportunity to be out there. For us at Neogen, it's kind of a hand-in-hand opportunity to promote good cattle handling, promote our products, be part of making the industry essentially just what it needs to be.
One thing we've been able to do with the support of companies like Neogen is really take this to a different level, perhaps, we'll say that, with our regional stockmanship and stewardship programs. They've allowed us to attract a bigger audience, multi-state audience, and with those partnerships, they bring people to the table too that we might not have access to.
By applying what they learn at these events, cattle producers can create a safer and hopefully an easier working environment back home.
It's a hard industry that we're in. It's tough. There's a lot of things that we have to deal with, but it should be fun. It should be something that we want to do. And so again, any opportunity we have to reduce stress on ourselves, make it a little easier, make it a little funner, that's a win all the way around.
I learn something every time I get working with cattle, and so can anybody else. So hopefully it gives them a little incentive to go home and try to get better.
Dr. Gill says working to get better at handling and caring for your animals directly connects to improving the success and even the profitability of your cattle operation. I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Now, if you'd like to attend one of these valuable sessions, just visit stockmanshipandstewardship.org for details on when and where you can find an event near you. And joining us now is Michaela Klauser, NCBA's Senior Director of Producer Education. Michaela, we just saw that you often don't have to travel a long way from home to participate in some of these educational sessions. Why has NCBA decided to invest in producer education sessions all across the country?
Of course. So NCBA really focuses on providing, the latest and greatest when it comes to producer education. It's really a cornerstone of what we do. And, we focus on sourcing those subject matter experts, utilizing the latest research to share with producers, what they can do to focus on their total quality management programs and focus on continuous improvement. That's a goal with NCBA, and something that we want to do through our educational programs is make them accessible. So we know it's a lot to ask from producers to leave home, to leave the farm or ranch. And so if we can make it as easy for them, whether it's on some virtual educational opportunities or some close by in-person educational opportunities, that's what our aim is.
Well, let's talk 2025. What's on tap for this summer's stockmanship and stewardship programs, and tell us where you're going and kind of what the focus will be this year. Yes,
we have a great S&S tour this year planned out. We're really excited. We're going to Watertown, South Dakota, June 26th through the 28th, Canyon, Texas, August 13th and 14th, and then rounding off the year in Springfield, Missouri, September 4th through the 6th. So we're covering a large group of states, and we're really excited. Something that's unique this year is that we're focusing on biosecurity and biosecurity planning for producers. So we're actually doing on-farm and ranch and feed yard walkthroughs with biosecurity. So we'll get out of the classroom, we'll go on the farm and walk through how to create a premises map, look at some of the basic biosecurity hazards and considerations that producers should think about a little bit more. And then additionally, we have some grazing management content that we're focusing on, and then always the live cattle handling demonstrations, which are so popular. And then what's really great is that those producers get to walk away with a BQA certification. So we're really excited about the event, and we hope that everyone can register and come to an event close to them.
Yeah, I can tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed several that I've been to over the years. And there's nothing quite like being there in person. But frankly, there are some people that it's difficult to get away from farm and ranch, especially during that time of year. So what are the online opportunities available for folks that can't make it to one of these in-person events?
Yeah, so if you can't attend an in-person event, what I would really encourage you as a producer to do is to go online and check out our BQA certifications and modules. I would encourage you to get BQA certified. That certification covers a wide range of topics, from environmental stewardship to cattle handling, nutrition, worker safety, everything in between. It takes about 1.5 to 2 hours to get certified, and that certification is good for 3 years. And then once you are certified, we have our BQA continuing education modules that you can check out. So you can earn credits that can go towards your recertification, and that takes a deeper dive into some topics. So facility design, cattle handling, herd health management, we're always adding to that catalog. So that's what I would encourage producers to do if they're not able to attend in person.
So real quick, producers could also get reimbursed for attending these, is that correct?
Yes, so we have the Rancher Resilience Grant Fund where producers can apply and receive reimbursement for registration and housing for in-person events, like the stockmanship and stewardship events. But these also go towards other industry events, such as the Angus Convention, the Gelbvieh Convention. Maybe your state Cattlemen's Association uses it for their annual meeting. So you can check out more about that at ncba.org and really encourage producers to utilize it.
Michaela, thank you for coming today and for all the great work you're doing in arranging these very, very educational programs. Now, as Michaela noted, you can get reimbursed for attending a variety of valuable education events through the Ranchers Resilience Grant. Just visit ncba.org and click on Education and Resources for all the details. Still ahead on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we've got to look back at the recent legislative conference hosted by the Public Lands Council in Washington, D.C. That story is straight ahead. Stay with us.
There's nothing greater than seeing your cattle grazing on lush green pasture.
Oh yeah, and nothing ruins that view like weeds and brush soaking up all the moisture and nutrients. Regardless of precipitation, We have to take care of our pastures. It doesn't rain grass.
The passion for cattle ranching starts early. So should the protection. Let's keep our pastures in good hands with Corteva Agriscience. To learn more, visit rangeandpasture.com.
Are you concerned about the impact government policies could have on your cattle business? One way to make your voice heard in Washington is by joining NCBA. When you join, you'll be part of the nation's oldest and largest national cattle industry organization that has a professional team working in Washington, D.C. on issues that matter to cattle-producing families nationwide. Don't stay on the sidelines. Make your voice heard by joining NCBA today at the website ncba.org.
Recently, ranchers from western states gathered in Washington, D.C. for a legislative conference hosted by the Public Lands Council. Here's PLC Executive Director Caitlin Glover with more on this year's event.
Since 1968, the Public Lands Council has been here in Washington, D.C., advocating for and really bringing to light in a government context the really unique perspectives of cattle and sheep producers who ranch in the 14 western states where public lands grazing is a huge part of those operations. These folks have a wide variety of operations, everything from Washington state all the way down to New Mexico and as far east as the Dakotas. And so when we were able to bring them together, we talk about a lot of things. We talk about water rights. We talk about grazing access, of course. But then we talk about things that affect regional areas as well. We talk about wildfire. We talk about very specific wildlife issues. This year, a huge focus with the Trump administration, it has been and is going to continue to be revision of the grazing regulations at BLM. On the Forest Service side, there are some improvements to be made as well. And so our policy focus really centered around grazing access, grazing use for wildfire prevention, and the things that will make grazing management easier. Of course, one of those things is reform, modernization, and really right-sizing of the Endangered Species Act. But this year they really took shape because we have an environment in Washington right now where regulatory reform is at the top of the Trump administration's agenda. So when we were talking about all of those issues, the outlook for improvements, the outlook for some long-term changes is much brighter than it has been in years past.
Don't forget, the Public Lands Council works every day to support Western ranchers by advocating for them and educating decision makers about the value of livestock grazing. Learn how they're making a difference and how you can help at publiclandscouncil.org. And if you want to learn more about public lands ranchers and the challenges these families face, we've got a special episode of Cattlemen to Cattlemen coming your way next week. We'll discuss the crucial role they play in feeding the world, as well as preserving the land for future generations. That's next Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Still to come, we've got a great beef recipe that's sure to be a hit at your next family meal. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Cattle producers across the country work hard to care for their animals and their land. The USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service is there to help. Find out how you can work with NRCS to develop a conservation plan for your operation. Find possible funding resources for implementing conservation practices, or get free expert advice on ways to improve your farm or ranch. Visit the website nrcs.usda.gov today.
Mark your calendar for an important event, the Cattle Industry Summer Business Meeting. Cattlemen and women from across the country will gather to set policy priorities, discuss critical issues, and get a first look at the beef industry long-range plan. Don't miss this opportunity to collaborate with your fellow industry leaders to help shape the future of the beef cattle industry. The Cattle Industry Summer Business Meeting, July 7th to the 9th in San Diego. Register now at ncba.org.
Welcome back to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. We're in the Beef Culinary Center here at NCBA, where beef recipes are developed, tested, and ultimately perfected. And joining us is the Executive Chef of Innovation and Culinary Services, Dagan Lin. Chef Dagan, what are you cooking up for us today?
Today we're cooking one of my favorite cuts, the sirloin cap.
Gotcha.
Or culotte or picanha.
Yeah, so we eat picanha when we go to a Brazilian restaurant, right? But you don't often hear people going out and ordering a culotte as an example.
Right, we're not doing Brazilian flavors. We're gonna take that and put some Asian flair on this. So we're gonna make a beautiful Asian style rub.
Okay.
And this piece of meat, the beauty of it is the cap.
Yeah,
right?
the fat cap. Yeah.
And we're gonna make a little base that has 3 components that I just love with all beef dishes.
Interesting.
Really works well with this Asian flair.
Yeah.
And it'll just get that fat more caramelized.
Yeah.
More crunchy, more tasty.
Neat.
And then we're gonna serve it with a Filipino dish called pancit, or it's really vermicelli rice noodles that we're gonna stir fry some vegetables in there. We're gonna start off first with our rub. We just have some ground ginger.
Okay.
We got a little kosher salt. We got a little granulated onion. A little granulated garlic. Little black pepper.
Sure.
And a little Korean chili flake.
Oh yeah,
you can take this as hot as you want.
Spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, if you like it a little spicier, we're just gonna mix that up. We're gonna go ahead and do our little base.
Okay.
So we got a little bit of sesame oil here.
Sesame, all right. Soy sauce, I assume.
Yeah, we got some soy sauce. And this is kind of one of my holy trinities that I love.
Okay.
We have some soy, we got some balsamic.
Okay.
And then we have a little Worcestershire sauce here.
Really?
It's really the shining star of this cut.
Yeah.
Right? So the fat cap is beautiful. This I cleaned up just a little bit. I just trimmed off a little bit of the fat. It really cuts like butter. We're gonna go ahead and cut these, about 1.5 inches thick.
Okay, so little wider strips than you would like a stir fry or something, though.
Yeah,
This is more. Yeah.
See?
Oh, yeah.
Boy,
More like
look
a
at the
steak.
marbling there.
Yeah,
we're gonna cut
yeah.
these into steaks. And I love grilled green onions.
Yes, sir.
In multiple
I love
ways.
raw green onions.
Raw green onions, grilled green onions.
A little salt.
And we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna curl this, kind of like you would see in a Brazilian style
sure.
steakhouse. And then we're gonna go ahead and skewer that.
It's very much
Careful
like a
not to
Brazilian
skewer
style.
yourself. I like to add a little bit of oil.
Is that olive oil or what?
This
what
is
do you
just
have?
like, this is just olive oil. You could spray it if you wanted to.
Just to make the rub stick then.
Helps it stick,
Yeah.
especially when you're going onto a hot grill.
I suppose.
So we're gonna go ahead and season this up really
look at
well.
that. Yeah, that's good.
And definitely make sure you get the cap.
Okay. So we're ready to put that on the grill now. Is that
Ready
right?
to grill. We're ready to
Fantastic.
go. These are real easy to use. There's multiple directions on them.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, they're just dried rice noodles.
That's amazing.
You can boil them. I've had more success with the technique that we're going to use right now.
Okay.
Which is just, I just get hot tap water.
Okay.
And I just throw them right in there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And let them absorb.
Hang out for a little
Let
while.
them hang out. They take about 15 minutes. While that's searing, we're going to go ahead and get a little bit of sesame oil in here.
Yeah.
And you can add as many vegetables as you want in here. I got some julienne peppers.
Peppers, you bet. Yeah.
You buy a bunch of green onions.
Yeah.
We put a few on the skewer. We're going to take the rest and throw them in the noodle.
Okay. Yeah.
We're going to add a little bit of this broccoli in there.
You're going to put jalapenos in an Asian dish.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
You got some
I do
garden
like
going.
jalapenos.
You got some jalapenos going. We're going to make it a little spicy in there.
That's fantastic.
And then while our meat's going, we got our base.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So this is going to add a lot of flavor into the meat.
You
This
bet.
meat will absorb it great.
Yeah.
And we'll get a little bit more of a sizzle.
You bet.
This is going to probably take, I'd probably say 8 minutes each side.
Okay.
We're going to add in some of our pancits.
Directly go into
Try.
those vegetables then, huh?
Yep.
Looks like that culotte is about ready. Ready to take off the
It
grill?
should be perfect right now. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and plate up a family style one, and I'm gonna make you a plate.
Oh, perfect.
All right,
I love it.
Does that work?
Yeah.
So this noodles.
Yeah.
We used a little bit of the sauce,
Oh,
a little
yeah.
bit of the spice rub.
Yeah.
We got a decent amount of vegetables in
You
there.
bet. Big old plate of. There you go.
How's that?
Yeah.
So I mean, you could serve this family style,
Yeah.
where you could just kind of put the steaks around here and
Yeah.
let them go at
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna get them a little head start on the knife cuts. We're just gonna go ahead and get you a little
There
plate
you
here.
go.
So we got some noodles.
Yeah.
Like I say, I like that soaking method. We're gonna get you a nice, perfect piece here.
Steak.
A little steak.
Here. Yeah.
Steak, culotte. I mean, kebabs, stir fry.
So
it
tender.
all works. Yeah.
Dave, thank you so much
Thank you, sir.
for the work that you're doing here. It is absolutely incredible for all of us as beef producers. And for more great recipes just like this one, you can go to the website, beefitswhatsfordinner.com. We'll be back with more Cattlemen and Cattlemen right after this.
You always know where this one is. But what about this one? Or this one? Imagine knowing your machines the way you know your cattle, where they are and what they need. Data like that could make a difference. You can make better decisions for more efficiency, consistency, productivity. That's the power of technology. Get started with Operations Center today.
Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. NCBA is the oldest and largest national cattle industry organization working to defend your interests in Washington, D.C. And there are big benefits to being a member. You'll get news you can use in the National Cattlemen, email updates in the NCBA Beef Bulletin, plus big discounts only for NCBA members. Join by calling 866-233-3872 or online at ncba.org.
Hi, I'm Duff George, and I am the Federation of State Beef Councils. My wife and I own and operate a beef farm in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, direct market beef to consumers and also sell cattle to a local buying station. I joined the Pennsylvania Beef Council as a Central Pennsylvania director, and then from that went into leadership, and I'm currently past chairman of the Pennsylvania Beef Council. So this is my first year as a state director, and I'm on the Safety and Product Innovation Committee. I think it's critical that producers have a voice into these programs, both nationally, regionally, and also statewide. And I believe these state cattlemen come together. We bring a diverse background of experience, both professionally and personally, from a variety of different parts of the country. And I think that helps grow the program and also brings different perspective for checkoff programs. So I believe the value of the Federation is a collective group of cattlemen across the country. We're all elected by our states. And the greater good of that is we help drive demand for beef, build consumer trust, and grow beef demand overall. So as you know, in Pennsylvania we have a lot of people and a growing cattle population, but resources are limited. And so for us to utilize the Federation services helps us reach more consumers through those programs in Pennsylvania. So our beef staff in Pennsylvania and the Northeast Beef Promotion utilize Federation services like ad copy to help with content of our material that we use in Pennsylvania and also in the Northeast. So I believe in the beef checkoff program. That's why I serve. We are elected as state directors to serve on the Federation. I believe those dollars are used wisely. There is tremendous amount of input by cattlemen across the country on these programs through the Federation. And through that, we're able to grow beef demand and build consumer trust. So even after 60 years, I believe the Federation is representative of the country, of the cattlemen. We all are diverse backgrounds. We still raise cattle, but we may raise them differently across the country. And I think we bring that perspective to the meetings to provide input on those committees to grow the program. But I also believe that our heritage and the experience through the Federation is what remains strong today. Love raising cattle and I love selling beef. I love when people say, Duff, that steak was amazing. How do we buy more? I love promoting beef within our state, within our community as well, and nationally. And also the friendships that are built through the Federation and the networking opportunities like a cattle convention and summer business meeting. But it's a great industry to work in, and I have tremendous passion for it.
We're wrapping up this week's show with legacy photos submitted by farming and ranching families from all across the country. Let's have a look. Now, we'd love to feature your photos right here on Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Just send them to us through the Cattlemen to Cattlemen Facebook page, and we may use them on a future episode. Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week right here on RFD TV.